Lori, for the reminder. Okay, super excited to talk about this topic today. Why we've always heard this: eat less and exercise more to lose weight, but why doesn't it work? And with this billion-dollar diet industry,
Mhm.
people should be losing weight if they're doing that, following that. But they're not. It doesn't work long term. We should say that. It might work in the short term, but it doesn't work and it's not sustainable. And so we think it's really important to talk about why that is and maybe give you some more ideas on what you can do if you are struggling with losing that last 20 pounds or you're in that yo-yo dieting cycle or you've just been struggling with trying to lose weight for a long time and things aren't budging. So that's what we want to add some clarity to that because I think it's really interesting. When you dive more into it, you can see, oh, there's a lot of things that go into rather than just calories in and calories out. And so, one of the things that is really hard to measure, two things actually, is really how many calories you're eating because it says, and Lori mentioned this earlier when we were talking, that the calories aren't always true when you're reading them on a package. Um, but I wonder if whole food is more consistent. When you're buying whole food, I'm guessing
Well,
that's
I
more
mean, you
consistent.
don't have a food label on a bag of broccoli. I mean, there's not a
Or
there.
on an
It says
avocado.
calories, right? It will
Yeah,
do that on a bag of broccoli. But if you pick an
yeah,
apple off a tree, it doesn't tell you how many calories that apple
right.
has.
That's true. Yeah,
And so the nutrition label is an estimate, and it
yes,
doesn't also take into consideration the process of digestion. So
right,
that takes energy.
right.
So really, truly, that is an estimate of how many calories you're consuming by whatever the food item is. And then
Mhm.
also is how does that affect your body? Like what
Mhm.
does your body have to do then to digest and metabolize that food? So
Yeah,
those things were not considered in that 100-calorie label or whatever.
right,
So it is
right.
really hard to get an exact number when we talk about calories intake. We
Yes,
can get an estimate,
yeah.
and so that's why I think a lot of I at least I know in the personal trainers that I've worked with in business and in my own
Mhm.
personal life is they give you a calorie range. It's not this you have to eat
Right,
557 calories for breakfast. I mean, there's
right.
just a range.
A range.
Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so anyway, the other factor that you were going to mention as well. So calories is one.
Calories is one. Exercise is another. It's hard, or energy expenditure. It's hard to measure that as well. You can exercise, you can jump on the treadmill, and it might spit out a number to you, but that's not always accurate as well. How many
Right.
calories you burn? I've heard people say, "I was on there for a half hour and I burned 136 calories." It doesn't seem like very much, but
Mhm.
anyway, who knows how much you're really burning? Also, there's the acronym NEAT, N-E-A-T, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is just average whatever you're doing in your day, walking up and down the stairs, you're fidgeting, you are doing gardening or whatever activities you're doing. That adds up too. That's movement. So it's impossible to measure that. So many times people overestimate how much they're working out or moving and underestimate the calories. So there you
Yes.
go.
That's
So
very easy to do to underestimate what you're eating. I mean,
yeah,
let's think about it.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah. And so
yeah.
one of the main things why it's hard to lose weight. Oh, and thermic energy of food too. We talked about that a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
That different foods like protein and complex carbs, your body needs to work harder to process those. So
Mhm.
that burns more calories. Simple carbs and fat, not so much. So think about that. So your body wants to stay in homeostasis. This is why it's hard to get the. It can be hard to lose weight too, because your body, where it is, it wants to stay there. Um, and
It's
so
seeking that. It's seeking that
it's
level of homeostasis. So
right,
and always it's what its job is to do.
exactly. So it's
Mhm.
trying to maintain that metabolic, where you are now. So many people, blame themselves with I lack willpower, I just can't do it or whatever. They're blaming that when and actually what it's true is your body is like trying to hold on to where it is, and that makes it harder to lose weight. So that's why it takes different strategies in order to, I don't want to say trick your body, but to help it um, help it to get to where you want, help to refine your body composition. Um, was there something you want to say, Lori? I thought you were
Oh no, no, no.
okay,
I
okay,
just
okay. I'm looking at my notes. I have so much to say, and I don't want to forget what
I
I'm going to
know.
say. But so if you like, so say you cut your calories down, and then your body can respond by, oh, I'm hungrier now. It's hungry because it's missing
Mhm.
those calories. So you got that to deal with. If you slow down your exercise, it's gonna it's gonna lessen lessen what you need to eat in order to maintain your whatever your activity level. So the ideal body composition is one, and it's not one size fits all for everybody. Same with
No.
diet. It's
Well,
all
if it was one size fits all,
yeah.
we would all not, every one of us would not have a struggle with losing body fat or
Mhm.
maintaining that over time. We would all be
Right,
able to, oh, I'll just eat less and move more and it'll be fine.
right,
We would never have this to worry about again. And we wouldn't have the multi-million dollar diet industry selling you all these different things to help you lose weight.
right. So what is the best diet? I know you're
One
wanting
you can
to know
stick to
exactly. So
long
it's
term.
really interesting. The best diet is one that's designed to reduce your satiety,
Mhm.
maximize your nutrition, and give you energy to move. And so that's why the higher protein diets have become popular, low carb diets, because you're getting satiety with the protein, and you're with the less carbs, you're not spiking your insulin. It's just easier to lose weight that way. Keto is very popular as well because you're doing the same thing. You're eating low glycemic, and you are what's the word I'm trying to use? Um, I know your body you're more satisfied. And Lori and I shared before when we did the high fat low carb. I don't like that name. I wish I could find a better name for it. We did it 8 years ago. It changed both our lives. It totally got rid of my hangriness
Mhm.
and constant thinking about food. This was a natural GLP-1 that where you
Right.
it got rid of the food noise for sure.
Right. And
For sure.
basically what we did is we paid attention to the
Mhm.
level, how many carbs we were taking in on a regular basis. That
Yeah.
included fruit.
Hmm.
And one of the things that, I mean, we started out with zero fruit. Now, that's not something that I prescribe to anyone because fruit is wonderful.
Yeah.
But certain fruits have, I think we've mentioned this before, certain fruits have a higher glycemic index than others. So if you want to take on this as something you want to try, stick to berries. They're just lower and they have a lot more antioxidants and they're just
Hmm.
better for the body than say a
Yeah.
banana. Not that bananas are bad.
Right.
They're just as they ripen, they get higher in that
Sugar.
glycemic, why they're so super sweet.
Yeah.
And so it's, when you talk about those things that you just mentioned, reducing your hunger,
Hmm.
satiety, and deliver nutrition, that's a lot of
Yep.
thinking about food quality too. It's not just,
Yep.
oh, I'm going to eat 150 calories of this when you
Hmm.
could certainly have, and I don't like to use calories anyway, because again, that's just an estimate,
Right.
but you could have a plate full of food that looks totally different, same amount of calories, and your
Hmm.
body's going to react differently to it.
Exactly. That was what, so there's about four things you think about, like to tweak what you're doing. And one of those is the food quality,
Mhm.
and the higher dense nutrition food, like whole foods, definitely better than stuff that comes in a bag or box
Mhm.
or in the middle of the grocery store. I'm not talking about frozen broccoli, but I'm talking about packaged stuff, ultra processed foods, and the quick things that you can find. That's one thing. The other thing is your macros, like what's your protein percentage to fat percentage to carbs. And when I say carbs, I know there's the veggie carbs and then there's the ultra processed carbs. So not trying to lump carbs in a bad bucket there, but just
Mhm.
to differentiate, when I talk about eating carbs, it's veggies I was going to say something about the fruit. So there's an interesting thing about the reason fruit, you shouldn't go crazy with fruit, is because the fructose, it it it's made, okay, think of a bear who goes foraging for berries in the summer because he's trying to fatten himself up for the winter. So he eats
Mhm.
all the berries and fruit he can find.
Mhm.
It fructose can increase your size. so
Mhm.
So bears are eating tons of berries, and so they can overwinter and hibernate and have that, hang on to as much body fat as they can over the winter. So just remember that, enjoy your fruit, like Lori
Right.
said, especially berries. But I
Mhm.
wanted to say why we cut fruit out, because there was a reason for that. The other thing
Yes,
is
and then
to, oh yeah.
the old adage, sorry, the old adage of everything in moderation. And I know that just
Mhm.
sounds very contrite, but it really is true. And what I tend to do is if I know I want to have fruit in that particular day, or if I choose
Mhm.
to do that, I always choose to eat it earlier in the day than having it
Mhm.
for dinner or after dinner.
Yeah,
Because then I know that I have time for my body to adjust to that the
yeah,
insulin
yeah.
spike. So that's just one other trick that I do. Does it work 100% of the time? No, because there are times when I'm like, after dinner, I want something a little bit sweet, and I will try to choose berries or some kind of fruit that's going to satisfy that if I
Yeah.
have that particular craving. But yeah, certainly. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay,
interrupt you.
here's a little pro tip. When you're talking about having fruit after dinner,
Yes.
I've done when I'm at home, I do kiwi, like gold kiwi. I'll have it do a couple after dinner. It helps with sleep
Mm,
and also helps with constipation. So if you like for the next day, so double whammy there and you're getting a
go.
little sweetness going and high in vitamin C, higher in vitamin C than oranges. So there you go. Little pro
Right.
tip. Okay. So anyway, the other thing is how much frequency of meals you eat during the day, and also meal timing, which can be intermittent fasting, which Lori and I both do our own version of that. I
Mhm.
think, right? So we haven't talked about that, but I know you do as well. But so if you're having a lot of little meals throughout the day, you're keeping your blood sugar stoked and spiked. And you want to have 3 meals a day or 2.5 meals a day. That's pretty much what I eat. But you want to have less meals so you let your blood sugar calm down. It's the best way I
Right.
can say.
Right. And the other thing is if you find yourself, because it's going to happen on occasion, if you find
Mhm.
yourself getting, hungry or hangry
Yeah.
between meals, that I feel like one of the best things that you can do is instead of grabbing the Lay's potato chips or the cookie or the cracker or the even some of the protein bars out there, because they're actually most of them carb bars, just we can talk about that another day, is grab something that's closer to a satiating food, like protein, like a healthy fat.
Yep.
And so that it will just kind of, quote, tide you over. It's
Hmm.
also going to spike that blood sugar so that
Yep.
you're like, hey, now I'm ravenous, which
Yeah.
is what, or the sweetened coffee drink that you have midday too to
Mm.
give you that
Hmm.
perk up. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there are small little, really truly small little things you can do to start if you're struggling with that.
Hmm.
And certainly, having somebody in your back pocket, a friend that's, trying to do the same thing. Certainly health coaches like Kim and I certainly can help you and support you through that. It's simple, but it's not always easy.
Right. And the biggest piece and the one last thing I want to say is the meal, having not having that window of eating, like an intermittent fast, what they call intermittent fasting. So it's just a window of eating where you're not eating from morning to sundown to the time you go to
Mhm.
bed. So you want to have a more of a condensed, maybe 10 or 11, 12 hour, 8 hour eating window. I wanted to say that. And then I was
Excuse me.
gonna, no, I was gonna piggyback on something you said then. Um, but I feel like shoot, now I can't remember what I was going to say. But
Sure,
anyway,
it'll come back.
though, yeah, it'll come back. But yeah, doing those four things, you know, to help you like reduce your hunger and increasing the protein, increasing the healthy fats are very helpful. Um, not eating quite frequently, having an eating window, just all help in making sure you're doing the right things to help move your weight loss along. Also, just supporting, well, exercise is another one. Exercise resistance training. Too much cardio can cause stress, elevate stress levels, and that's not a great thing. So, doing some zone 2 cardio, maybe mixed in with some high intensity exercise, can be good, but not just going all out all the time. That's going to have a reverse effect too.
One
So,
other thing I just wanted to just go back and review just real quickly for some people, because I know that, working with the people I have, I will say things like whole foods and they'll look at me like, well, what do you mean? And or I'll say one ingredient foods and they don't
mm,
necessarily know what I mean. And so that means that it's one ingredient, it's broccoli. There's not there's not seven or eight things. Now I'm not talking about a recipe where you do broccoli, add some things to it, right? Home cooking. I'm talking one ingredient foods, chicken, rice, broccoli,
yeah,
a little on rice, but one ingredient foods, it's their whole, that they've not been truly 100% changed into something totally different. And so I think when we say whole foods, people don't necessarily
mm,
understand what that means. So even if you can start every meal right now, instead of completely rearranging everything on your plate, if you could just start adding one whole or one ingredient food per meal per day, instead of taking everything away that you love, just adding those things in, it's going to start changing what your body wants and craves, right?
yes,
So
yep, yep,
maybe you're just making sure you get a vegetable, one
yep,
ingredient vegetable in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and
yep,
that's it. Or, two out of the three meals you have during the day.
yep,
It's just doing those simple tweaks that can start this process.
yep,
You don't have to go crazy with
exactly.
nutrition.
And I was just going to mention there's three other things that can affect what's going on too,
Yes.
hormones. So
Yes.
hormones can cause issues with weight loss. So you want to support a healthy hormone balance. High quality sleep
Mm,
also is super important, and also minimizing chronic stress. And I'm talking about chronic stress, not we all have stress going on, but maybe, intermittent stress, that's normal, but chronic stress is like can be one of the biggest drawbacks to reaching your health goals. And that's chronic stress. A lot of people complain about belly fat. That's usually, a lot of it's caused by chronic stress. You've got high cortisol levels, and it just, I think of it as gloms that fat to your belly. So that's one thing
right.
to deal with as well. Lori, is there
Chronic
anything
stress.
else? Yeah.
I was just going to say chronic stress and chronic not having great rest. That didn't
Mm,
really make sense, but you know what I mean. Not prioritizing sleep and chronic stress
right.
affect the hormones. And that was the first thing you said. So it's like this cycle of,
Yeah.
not helping yourself when
Hmm.
you're constantly doing things to interrupt your sleep, like screen time. We don't have to go into all those things, but you know what it means when you're not getting good sleep. That
Right.
does affect directly your hormones,
Right.
and also
Right.
stress directly affects your
Yeah.
hormones, which directly affects you wanting to be the best, in health that you have, or, lower your body fat, your
Yeah.
composition of your body. And
So,
it's an everyday thing
yeah.
to
So
think
the other
about
thing I'm
too.
going to say, think about this. Think about rest and digest. You want to be rested and digested instead of wired and tired.
Yes, I
You've
love
heard that
that.
before. Yeah.
Yes, I
So
have.
that's,
Yep.
yeah. So that's a good one. Anyway, we hope this was helpful because um, calories in, calories out is very nuanced. And
Mhm.
so when you add all the other things we talked about, it's just like, oh, maybe there's something there that you can pick apart that say, oh, I could do this better, or this is something I need to look at. It's just be
Right.
educational.
Right. And, we're talking to just the average everyday person. We're not talking about people who are doing something like doing bodybuilding competitions. That's a whole
Right.
other realm.
Right.
And we're not talking about that. We're just talking about everyday life and wanting to eat well, to feel good, to have great sleep, have great relationships, and be healthy and happy. That's what we're
That's what
talking
we
about.
want. That's right. That's right. So anyway, well, thanks for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wellness Wednesday, and have fun and live young. And we will not see you next week. I'll be traveling, but in March we'll be back. So take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.